Just a few days ago, the Lords of the Fallen CEO declared his company would not integrate DEI into their games, saying they wanted to focus on making fun, high quality, entertaining products for gamers. But now they've actually put up a poll saying they will follow the final result, whether or not they have body types A or B or male or females within their games. And of course, male or female is sweeping, and tons of gamers are praising them. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, we have seen a lot of studios over the years stop listening to gamers. They do not care about our opinions or our feedback because they think that they can make a masterpiece on their own and gamers will always show up to buy their products, but that certainly isn't the case. Look at something like Dragon Age the Veilguard. We were waiting a decade for that game to release. They had years and years of feedback and they have millions of fans, but basically nobody bought the Veilguard because they focused more on pushing an agenda instead of simply creating high quality entertainment. I mean, they decided to add in modern day terminology like transgender, non-binary. They had a pronoun picker. You have top surgery scar toggles. It's just not what you would expect out of a dragon fantasy game. But there are still some developers out there who want to listen to us. And now the CEO of CI Games, the developer of The Lords of the Fallen, recently stirred up debate in the gaming community with a poll addressing gender selection in a medieval fantasy RPG and a promise to abide by the final result for future products. So right off the bat, they are going above and beyond by actually putting up polls and listening to our feedback. Now, of course, in theory, they don't have to put these things into their games going forward, but they've gotten a lot of extra attention over the past couple of days. A lot of people are talking about them, and a lot of gamers are saying this is what more studios need to do. So I do genuinely believe these people are just passionate devs. They are truly trying to listen to us. And this is what the poll says: in a medieval fantasy action RPG experience, what do you prefer to choose between? We will follow the final result, body types A and body types B, male or female, or none of the above. So as you can see, male or female is absolutely dominating the poll with 88% out of 47,268 votes. It is clear that gamers have spoken. Okay, I think that this is always so hilarious. The modern audience could show up. It's like with Concord, Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn, Dustborn, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. The modern audience could have bought those games. There could have been millions of people playing them, and we could have been proven wrong. Even in a poll where all you have to do is click a single button, these people could not even put in the time and the effort because at the end of the day, these people do not exist. There's no group called the modern audience. The closest group of individuals to that are sensitive snowflakes on social media, and they're not even trying to pretend to act offended by this poll because they know that they are getting just brutally ratioed from the get-go. So the article says the poll posed the following question to gamers, and of course it's sweeping. That means roughly 41,176 people selected male or female, 4,070 people selected body types A and B, and 1,590 people selected none of the above. This overwhelming rejection of body type A and B sends a very clear message to the game development community. It demonstrates a strong player preference for traditional male or female character selection. It also aligns with the backlash seen recently with other games attempting to implement politically charged features, and this is so true. Even look back a few months at the Dragon Quest HD 2D remake. There was so much backlash because they decided to go in the direction of body type A or B instead of male or female. That upset a lot of people. Now, of course, that is a remake, so it is slightly different because they are going back and altering older content. But at the end of the day, it's clear that there is a strong player preference. And if more studios actually started taking our feedback into consideration, maybe they would face less backlash. Maybe they would be able to sell more copies of their games. And it just shows that this, again, modern direction isn't one that gamers want. We do not want to see this BS shoved in our face all the time. And I hope that more studios will actually see this poll and take it into consideration. But I still don't have a lot of faith in the people within the industry. It says, though, perhaps the most prominent example of player rejection of such features is BioWare's Dragon Age the Veilguard. Launched to critical fanfare from virtue signaling outlets, the game suffered a major commercial disappointment. And it's even funny because Corinne Bush, the lead of this game, the director of this game, actually had said that they were so proud of the critical reception, but who gives a fuck what the critics have to say? They're not the ones that are buying your game. It is gamers that are buying your game. We are the reason you have a job in the first place. You'd think they'd show us a shred of respect, but they don't really ever. But Veilguard performed poorly overall, with both sales figures and player retention painting a bleak picture. Sales performance, and according to reports, Dragon Age the Veilguard sold only 1.5 million units, which was far below EA's lofty expectations of 10 million copies. Within the first 2 weeks of release, the Veilguard faced an alarming number of refunds. Reliable sources indicate that over 30,000 refunds were issued shortly after the game's launch, and then the physical copies of the game rapidly lost value. GameStop and other retailers listed the trade-in value at a paltry $22 within days of release. That is a historically low figure. But heading on over to X and taking just a quick peek at this thread, gamers are praising this decision, saying this is what studios should be doing. I want male and female in every game, in any setting. The only time types A and types B is acceptable is if it has nothing to do with the character's sex and is just you choosing from a handful of designs. Male and female, no one ever wants to be called a type A or type B. Why would this ever be an option? Not in just fantasy, but anything, which I completely agree. As a female, I want to be called a female. If I want to play a female, I want to choose a female. And I don't think that that is so much to ask for. We've seen the body types A and B trend really stem from Japanese game development, because they have over the years focused so heavily on making games that appeal to global audiences. And there's this like twisted mentality that is what the Western world wants. And I do genuinely believe it really started because of localizers, because localizers a lot of the times end up kind of being the middleman between Western audiences and then in this case, for this example, Japanese developers. And they say, oh, well, if we just tweak this wording slightly, you might sell more copies. And then those developers go, okay, it's fine with us. It doesn't really break our hearts to see something like gendered language go, which I think is absurd, but I do blame a lot on localizers. Male and females and no pronouns. How the hell would they know pronouns by today's standards? Male and female, it's not rocket science. This whole body type A and B thing feels like a weird attempt to cater to a tiny, loud crowd of professional complainers. Honestly, why mess with what works? Keep it simple, keep it real, which I 100% agree with. So I would be interested to see if Merrick here comes out and makes any other statements, if he clarifies, when they would be implementing this in their games, or if it's going to be for future titles as well. But they're receiving a lot of support right now, and I really love the Lords of the Fallen. I thought when it came out in 2023, I did live stream it. I thought that it was really good, and I do recommend people check it out if you're a fan of like that classic Souls-like experience. It was really fun all around, and it is great to see companies actually saying we are going to listen to you because gamers' voices do matter. And well, I'm sure that we're going to see even more media outlets coping and seething over the fact that they are losing right now and that gamers are being listened to. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.